now, rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in great spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that, shall we? We got a little bit to talk about. Not a whole lot. It's not going to be a super huge long show today because it's Sunday. It's time for rest. It's time to recoup. It's time to do those Sunday resets, you know what I'm saying, and get all of our lives together, getting ready for the work week starting tomorrow, okay? But nonetheless, there are some serious things going on. Like, I talked to you guys about some of them in some YouTube shorts, in some shorts and reels since yesterday. There's some really big things that are popping off, and if things aren't met at a specific deadline, there is going to be a massive escalation in the war in Iran. Just saying that out loud so that you guys know what's going on, what we're about to walk into, what we're about to waltz into, because it's about to get pretty crazy. Things are about to get froggy, if it hasn't been froggy enough already, okay? I feel like they're about to Drax them scounts. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to look it up. They're about to Drax them scounts. Okay? Get them some terries if they're feeling a little squirrely. Anyway, it's another conversation in itself. I might reference it later so you understand what I'm saying. But we'll see what's going on here. Things are about to go off, and there's 24 hours left. Yes, guys, 24 hours left on the clock. We got a lot to talk about. So please do me a favor. Before we get into everything, hit that like button down below. Crush it. Do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. Please and thank you. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all of them. Please make sure you hit that follow button. Most importantly, subscribe here to my YouTube channel, okay? We're getting nice and juicy over here, so make sure you are subscribed to this YouTube channel. Please and thank you. Hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because honestly, it's random, okay? It is random. So hit that notification bell. Set it to all. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, don't forget to check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, so go check it out. PascalMerch.com. Check it out. All right, guys. We got to get into some things because there's a lot going on here, guys. And I'm telling you right now, we're already 24 hours in. We are already 24 hours deep into this very big ultimatum that Trump gave to Iran. Now, a lot of you guys are like, what are you talking about? What's going on? What's popping off, Pascal? What be cracking? What's going on? Let me just say this, okay? First and foremost, right now we're halfway through. We're more than halfway through the timeline, okay? The deadline. We're halfway through meeting the deadline, okay? And if we get to the deadline and nothing changes, or it doesn't happen to the extent that brings glee to Trump's heart, like I said, there is going to be a massive escalation in this war in the Middle East right now, or, in less than 24 hours from now. So Iran has less than 48 hours, less than 24 hours now to get their ish together and open the Strait of Hormuz. If they don't, again, they will see attacks at the levels they've never seen before. Okay, that's a very Trumpism, but, it's a very Trump thing to say. But that's what he says all the time, right? So let's keep it real. So he put up a post on Truth Social yesterday, which rattled everybody's cage. Everyone was, oh my God, shiver me timbers. So it goes a little bit like this. He says if Iran doesn't fully open without threat the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours, which was, he posted this yesterday, by the way, just so you know. Okay, within 48 hours from this exact point in time, the United States of America will hit and obliterate their various power plants, starting with the biggest one first. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Now, let me tell you something really quick, okay? This is going to be a very big deal. Because if Iran does not do as at Trump's bidding, they're going to be going after. They're going to. Okay, let me tell you what they're going to do. Let me tell you what they're doing right now. They're doing, America, just so you know, is doing exactly the same thing right now, but just different to the country of Cuba. If you didn't know, Cuba is screwed right now. They've cut off all kinds of resources to the country of Cuba. So much that there's been blackouts, power outages, power issues. People are starving. It's very, very bad. And this is dealing with the people of Cuba. We're not even talking about the regime there. They're hurting the people of Cuba. I just want to make that abundantly clear, just so y'all know. And apparently, allegedly, they're saying that there's going to be some huge attack or invasion of Cuba coming in the very, very near future. People keep on saying, it's any day now, everybody. It's any day now that America will invade Cuba. I don't know about all that. But what I do know is that Cuba is in bad shape right now. And it's hurting the people of Cuba. They're not hurting the regime, they're hurting the people. The good-hearted, loving Cuban people. Okay? That's a huge problem. Now, what they're going to do over here is going to be much worse. Because what's going on in Cuba, they're just cutting off oil. And that's making a huge problem for the country. It's making things very, very bad for the country, which we've talked about at length, right? This situation is that they're going to go over and they're going to destroy, obliterate, he said. They will hit and obliterate their various power plants, starting with the biggest one first. Power plants, energy infrastructure. They're going to go in and drop bombs on it. And it's going to hurt the Iranian people. Not the regime, not the military, none of that, not the Iranian militia or anything of that sort. That's going to hurt the Iranian people. I want to make that abundantly clear. Now, again, I understand. Okay, I know the Iranian regime is very, very bad. Bad people, right? But we should be attacking the bad people, not the actual civilians of that country, right? Right? I digress. But nonetheless, they're going to start going after their power plants. He's already threatened to obliterate Karg Island's oil infrastructure. But let's keep it real. He ain't going to stop that. He ain't going to obliterate that. He wants that monies. He wants that liquid gold. Okay? I love gold. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to destroy that. He's just going to take it. Just like what Lindsey Graham's been saying out here. We need to go in there, swoop in, take Karg Island like we did Iwo Jima. Yeah. Come on, guys. This is absolutely insane. And I tell you what, it's not a good thing. Not a good thing, me loves. Not a good thing. So here it is. How's Iran reacting to this? Oh, well, let's find out, shall we? Because it's not getting any better. Because Iran just said, oh, hey, hell no. You gonna make me open up the Strait of Hormuz? You got another thing coming, sugar. They said they're gonna completely keep it closed. Yeah. So as much as Trump is like, oh, you better do it, or you're gonna hate it. You're gonna hate what I'm gonna do. Don't make me force my hand. Don't you force my hand, right? Iran's going, okay, go ahead, do it, baby. Let's see what you do. And if you continue to try to destroy everything, shoot, we will help you destroy it for you. We will burn this whole mother lover to the ground, baby, and we will sing kumbaya around it, roasting marshmallows off the flames. You understand, guys? Iran don't give a damn. They're willing to go down with the doggone ship. You feel me? And they're the ones who sunk it. You see what I'm saying? This is not good. So they're saying, no, if you do that, you're going to see complete retaliation from the Iranian people. America, don't you dare do this. Don't you dare make us open up the Hormuz Strait, because it's going to stay completely closed. They're basically saying, come at me, bro. I'm right here, bro. You know that whole thing? You see at bar fights, arms out like this, chest out. You know, the bros do this stuff. Come on, bro. Where you at, bro? I'm right here, bro. That's basically what they're doing now. That's what America and Iran are doing right now as we speak. Now we just got to see who's going to actually strike. I don't know why I went like Italian there, but who's going to actually strike first? Because right now Iran is already hitting Israel, hurting, injuring many, many civilians in Israel, right? That happened yesterday as well. Multiple bombs dropped, missiles dropped in Israel by Iran. And let's not forget, we just found out that Iran has a lot more up their sleeves than what they've given off. That they have the ability to shoot missiles a lot further than what we thought. And if this goes really bad, they could go after other allied countries as well. We're talking Paris, we're talking about Spain, we're talking any other Western European country could be in dire straits, could be the next target if Iran feels a little bit frosty one day. Okay? Think about that for a second. Oh, yeah, I know I'm crazy. But I'm speaking facts. I'm speaking facts, y'all. This is a very dangerous situation that can only get worse. And then on top of that, let's not forget TSA in America. Okay, we got some issues with TSA. ICE agents are now going to be, oh, dear God. ICE agents are going to be taking over TSA checkpoints starting tomorrow. Yeah, we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. This is all no bueno. A lot of things are about to get muy caliente all over the globe over the next 48, 72 hours. I'm hoping that my predictions are wrong. What I feel in my gut, okay, what I feel all the way down to my plums. Hopefully I'm wrong. But there's a possibility that we are looking at a very crazy and hectic start of the week. And it could just be a foreshadowing of what it could be for the rest of the week. And I'm talking not only just foreign, I'm also talking about domestic as well. We got a lot to talk about. But Iran is now sitting here saying, oh, hell no. We're going to keep this mother lover completely closed. As much as you think we're shaking in our boots. Ooh, we're so scared, America. They're like, no, we're going to keep it completely closed. And they're saying, try us. Go after our power structure, our energy infrastructure, and see what happens. Interesting, right? Let's take a look at this. So Iran's foreign minister said this: Strait of Hormuz is not closed, which is also interesting. All right. They said Sunday, ships aren't passing through the Strait of Hormuz over insurers' fears about the war, blaming the U.S. for creating those fears. The Strait of Hormuz is not closed. Ships hesitate because insurers fear the war of choice you initiated, not Iran. This is what they said. The freedom of navigation cannot exist without freedom of trade. Respect both or expect neither. No insurer and no Iranian will be swayed by more threats. Try respect. Now, let me show you this here. This is what they said. Just so you know, I'm just going to read this underneath, okay? They're saying a spokesperson for Iran basically warned a severe retaliation if U.S. threats against Iran's energy infrastructure are carried out. He said Iran could fully close the Strait of Hormuz and target energy, power, and IT infrastructure linked to Israel and U.S. interests across the region. Okay, he also stated that facilities in countries hosting American bases could also become targets, emphasizing Iran's readiness. He said any attack would trigger a broad response aimed at American economic interests. He also added that Iran does not seek war, but will act decisively to defend its national interests. Take a listen to a little bit of this.
In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. O you who believe, when you encounter those who disbelieve, see them weak and do not turn your backs to them in flight. The terrorist president of America has, in continuation of his aggressive and global destabilizing behavior, threatened that if Iran does not open the Strait of Hormuz, he will target Iranian power plants. We have repeatedly stated that the Strait of Hormuz is only closed to the enemy and those making unprofitable trips, and it has not yet been fully closed and is under our intelligent control. Harmless passage under specific regulations is ensured with our security and interests in mind. However, if America's threats regarding Iranian power plants are implemented, retaliatory measures will be taken immediately. 1. The Strait of Hormuz will be completely closed, and it will not be reopened until our destroyed power plants are rebuilt.
Do you realize how long that would be? If Trump was to fly in, if U.S. and Israel were to fly in and specifically go after these big power plants, and then they say, oh, okay, you bombed our power plants, we ain't moving. We ain't doing anything. We are not opening the Strait of Hormuz until those power plants are up and fully functioning again. Do you realize how long that will be? Do you realize how long that would take? Just saying that out loud. I just want to make that abundantly clear. This would take a long time. This is not just some easy situation where they just like stack up a stack of cards or something like that. No, this would take time to do if America actually does what he says he gonna do. Remember, we got less than 24 hours from now. So tomorrow evening time, if they do not meet the demands of what Trump put out in that 48-hour ultimatum, they're going in and they're dropping bombs on power plants. And however long it takes for them to rebuild those power plants, that's how long the Strait of Hormuz will be shut down. This is a recipe for absolute. This is a recipe for absolute mayhem. You understand that, right? Not only just war-wise, okay? Not in just the wave of retaliation that could be coming to America or coming to our allies, but also economically. This could be absolutely detrimental, not as much for the American people so much in a way, but also the world market is screwed. And then what happens? The world starts turning to Trump and starts turning to America and starts flipping the bird. Because why? We started this ish. We just made the situation even worse if we were to bomb those power plants. And we have not found a copacetic and peaceful resolution to the situation so that they can open up the strait and keep it moving. So guess what? They're going to be angry. They're going to shut things down, and it's going to be shut down for a good long time, to the point where oil will become scarce. Not trying to fearmonger. I'm just saying truth. They might open the Strait of Hormuz for their allies. Maybe a little bit, but not a whole lot. So again, like I said, this would be very, 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 very bad if things go the way, if this goes down this route. Let's just say that.
2. All power plants, energy infrastructure, and information technology of the Zionist regime will be widely targeted. 3. All similar companies in the region that have American shareholders will be completely destroyed. 4. Power plants in regional countries that host American bases will be legitimate targets. Everything is ready for a major jihad with the aim of completely destroying all American economic interests in the Middle East region.
That's not good either. So Jared Kushner, for example, should be shaking in his boots right now. Just saying. Okay, Jerry. Okay, Jared. You might be a little nervous right now because of how everything is transpiring over there. Okay, your father-in-law maybe thought that this was going to be an in-and-out job, and it ended up not being an in-and-out job. And you thought maybe you would be like stacking up on serious bread right now, but no. So all the things that you're trying to do over there, like turn basically the Gaza Strait basically into the Silicon Valley of the Middle East and a resort as well. It's like a hybrid of those things. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So all the things, all those dreams that you had, right, could be going completely ass over tea kettle right now. Okay? Tits up, as some would say. Yeah. So Jared, okay, he definitely tripping right now. And I'm sure he should be scared. He should be worried. Because for a fact, he had a lot of plans on making some serious money in the Middle East.
We were not the initiators of the war, and we will not be now. But if the enemy inflicts damage on our power plants, we will do anything to defend our country and the interests of our nation, and the relentless destruction of the aforementioned targets will begin, and nothing can prevent the continuation of our operations to destroy the energy, oil, and industrial infrastructure of America and its allies in the region.
He just said what I just said a second ago. Okay, a little bit ago. He said, we gonna burn this mother lover down and we won't give a damn. We will be standing there holding the damn match, laughing, roasting marshmallows on the fire that we actually started. We don't care. We will take everything out and make life a living hell for the American people over here. Not good, guys. Not good.
And there is no power except that of the Almighty, the wise.
Yeah. So again, no bueno. This is not a good sign. But again, like I said, if, Trump believes that this could be, a huge turnout, like a positive turnaround in the next 48 hours. But I'm telling you right now, let me ask you guys this. Let me ask you, do you really truly think that the Iranian people, or the Iranian regime, I'm sorry, not the Iranian people, but do you really think that the Iranian regime is going to literally say, okay, fine, go ahead, let's open up the Strait of Hormuz? You just heard that leader, that spokesperson basically say, you can try all you want, but we're keeping it closed. Do you really think that they're going to bend? Remember, like I said earlier, I don't think that the Trump administration has fully understood what Iran is fully capable of. We just found out that they could launch missiles further than we've ever seen before, which could also mean other countries, like I said, other allies could be in harm's way now. It's not just shooting things to Israel and other countries that they're targeting. They can go further. This is a massive, massive problem. Do you really think that Iran is going to bend at this grave ultimatum that Trump just gave them, saying you got, well, yesterday, 48 hours. Now they have less than 24 hours to open up the Strait of Hormuz. Do you think that they are going to do that? Or are we going to see us drop bombs on power plants in Iran, making the Iranian people's lives a living hell? Are we really going to do that? What do you think? Let's listen to this.
Begin this Sunday morning with breaking news on the war on Iran, with President Trump demanding Iran end the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz by tomorrow night or face new disaster as Operation Epic Fury enters a fourth week. Even with most of Iran's top leadership killed and its military severely degraded, Iran has managed to intimidate oil tankers from moving through the strait with threatening drones, keeping traffic at a standstill and oil prices elevated. The president posted last night that Iran has 48 hours to end the blockade of the strait, or the U.S. will obliterate Iran's power plants. As the war escalates after Iran fired 2 long-range ballistic missiles at the Navy support facilities on the island of Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean on Friday, some 2,500 miles away from Iran. Now, neither missile hit the joint U.S.-British military base, but it still is raising concerns that Iran holds ballistic missiles with the potential to reach much of Europe. Meanwhile, the Pentagon finally putting a number on its supplemental defense package, requesting at least $200 billion from Congress to fund ongoing military operations against Iran, as President Trump received some support from allies to secure the Strait of Hormuz, with 20-plus nations signing a pledge to secure the critical waterway, where 20% of the world's oil and gas is supposed to be transported every day. But none of those nations have committed to combat operations or sending naval ships to the region to escort tankers through the strait. The UK said it won't be drawn into a wider war, while Germany stated, quote, "This is not our war." That comment days before Iran's long-range missile traveled to Diego Garcia. The White House is doing everything it can, meanwhile, to reopen the waterway and lower the price of oil, which is now trading just around $100 a barrel, up some 50% since the conflict began 3 weeks ago. As Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told me exclusively on Thursday on Mornings with Maria on Fox Business, that the White House would lift sanctions on Iranian oil that is already out at sea, like they did with Russian oil, which is, in fact, exactly what he did this weekend. The U.S. allowing 140 million barrels of oil on tankers at sea to be sold to the global markets.
We had a break the glass plan across the administration and at Treasury. We unsanctioned Russian oil. We knew that there were about 130 million barrels on the water, and we created supply that is beyond the Straits of Hormuz. So we anticipated this. We knew that there could be a temporary, and I want to emphasize temporary, choke point there. And there was 130 million barrels of floating storage. In the coming days, we may unsanction the Iranian oil that's on the water. It's about 140 million barrels. So depending on how you count it, that's 10 days to 2 weeks of supply that the Iranians had been pushing out. That would have all gone to China. In essence, we will be using the Iranian barrels against the Iranians to keep the price down for the next 10 or 14 days as we continue this campaign.
And joining me now is the U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Michael Waltz. Ambassador, good to see you. Thanks very much for being here this morning.
Good to be with you, Maria. Thanks.
And I want to talk just about what Treasury Secretary Bessent said. This is not a new opening for Iran to sell oil. The maximum pressure campaign is still on. This is related just to those Iranian crude products that have already been loaded on vessels, correct?
No, that's absolutely right, Maria. President Trump's maximum pressure campaign that he put in place his first term, the Biden administration lifted, and he put it back in place within weeks of starting his second term, is absolutely still on. That what Secretary Bessent is referring to are the barrels of oil that are already out at sea, are already going to go to Chinese markets. Now they can go to places like India, Bangladesh, or elsewhere. But here's the thing, and this is what the mainstream media keeps missing, is that the sanctions on the banks are also still in place. So we do not anticipate Iran sees any of that money. This is actually, as the secretary said, using their strategy against them. Their entire strategy, because they've been so defeated militarily, is to sow chaos, attack its neighbors, hold the world's energy supplies hostage, or at least attempt to. And this is yet one more step to defeat that strategy, on top of drill, baby, drill here at home, a waiver to the Jones Act, which allows ships to move between ports. We are going to defeat this strategy. It will be temporary on the part of Iran. And at the end of the day, the United States and our global coalition will prevail.
Well,
we'll see about that. We will definitely see about that. I don't know about all. I don't know about all that. You know what I mean? There is there's a lot. There are some. They think that by like throwing out threats, that they instantly think that Iran's going to react in a specific way. I just don't see them doing that. I don't see them reacting in the way that they think that they're going to do. Like I said, shaking their boots, scared out of their minds, going, "Oh God, we gotta do whatever we can to make America happy, so that nothing bad happens." Right? But there's been a lot that's been going on overnight and all that, and we got to take a look at this. This is crazy.
More missiles toward the area of one of its major nuclear research centers. Sirens sounding in the area again, just hours after 2 Iranian strikes wounded more than 150 people. It comes as fresh threats between the United States and Iran to strike critical infrastructure, and it's raising the fears for millions of people across the Middle East. President Trump is giving Iran just 48 hours to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, warning the United States will obliterate Iranian power plants if it doesn't. The Strait carries about a fifth of the world's oil, and its disruption is already rattling global markets, as you know, with U.S. gas prices up more than $1 in just a month. And now Iran is firing back with a warning of its own. So News Nation's Joe Khalil is tracking this one closely for us. They are from Dubai. Joe, how is Iran responding?
They're responding basically with threats, retaliating, sort of the same thing that President Trump said that he would do if the Iranians do not reopen the Strait of Hormuz. As you laid it out there, Anna, it has obviously been an incredibly tough pressure point on the global economy. And so President Trump essentially warning the Iranians that if by Monday night they do not release their grip on the Strait of Hormuz and allow oil to flow through that critical narrow strait, that waterway, that he says that Iranian targets in terms of power plants are going to be obliterated. And he says starting with the biggest one first. Now, in response to that, the Iranian military spokesperson said that if the U.S. moves in that direction, then Iran is going to strike IT infrastructure, energy infrastructure, and also water desalination plants in the United States, or belonging to the United States and Israel as well. So a war not just of strikes back and forth, but a serious war of rhetoric back and forth, escalating things as well, Anna. And this is what the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel, said today about the need to continue even further strikes on Iran.
They have now the capacity to reach deep into Europe. They already have fired on a European country.
This would be a very, very big concern for all of us, guys. They can go seriously into Europe. That's not good. That is not good. And I know what Benjamin Netanyahu is doing. I mean, let's keep it a beam. Okay. We know what Benjamin Netanyahu is doing. This is a good thing for him. This is what he wants. Remember, this is a good thing for Trump too, because remember, Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu and Trump have been trying to get allies to get involved in this war in the Middle East. They've already come to them and said, "Hey, help us reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Help us get this thing on and popping." And the allies have stepped back and been like, "No, we good. Y'all got that. Y'all started that. You finish it, right? So allies have been sitting on the back and being like, no, I'm just going to hold my popcorn real quick and see what's going down. I'm not getting involved. But the fact that they're now saying this is the type of rhetoric that they want. They want to say this now because they want to scare allies, the French, etc. They want to scare these other allies so that it's like, oh, snap. Well, if they're capable of hitting, countries like us now, well, I guess we got to get suited and booted too. You see what I'm saying? So let's see what he says, but I have a feeling that he's using this to his advantage as a talking point, right? As a reason to get these allies to rally behind America and Israel. Let's see what he says, though.
Cyprus, they are putting everyone in their sights. And fourth, they're stopping a maritime international route, energy route, and trying to blackmail the entire world.
Wow. Blackmail the entire
Israel
world.
was really ramping up their strikes today, not just in Iran, but also in Lebanon here, as you see exploding this bridge that really brings together the southern and northern parts of Lebanon. The southern part is where Israel's strikes and their ground operation have really been concentrated, as that's where Hezbollah mostly is, their strongholds in Lebanon. There were also several strikes on Iran today from the United States and Israel, and this comes in response to what we saw last night. For the first time, as you laid out, Anna, 2 Iranian missiles broke through Israel's normally reliable Iron Dome air defense system and struck directly 2 buildings. One of them, as you pointed out, was actually at a nuclear location, incredibly important for Israel's military. The other was this here, Arad, which is, as you can see, looking like a residential area. More than 180 casualties we are reported out by the Israeli media.
180 casualties, guys. 180 casualties.
And confirmed by their health ministry. So obviously the first time that we've seen a mass casualty incident occur in the life of this war inside of Israel.
Yeah, you can really underscore that 180 people now, so that death toll is rising, and it may rise even further as they start sifting through the rubble even more, looking for their loved ones. News Nation's Joe.
That's absolutely terrible. And again, like I said, they're sending out missiles. They're returning those missiles, right? And now people are actually, now you're hearing civilians actually losing their lives. That 180 was not civilian. It was not soldiers. That wasn't military. That was not troops. That was civilian lives lost to this crazy thing that we're dealing with in the Middle East. Let's take a look at this here too.
The clock is ticking on President Trump's 48-hour ultimatum he issued to Iran, warning last night that the U.S. will strike its power plants if the Strait of Hormuz is not reopened. Let's check back in with Fox News senior correspondent Mike Tobin live in Tel Aviv. Mike, we're hearing that missiles are approaching Israel right now. What do you got for us?
Well, we should start hearing the sirens in about 2 minutes now. The way the alerts are going right now, everything from the north to the south of Tel Aviv is under watch right now, the eastern section of Tel Aviv in particular. So we hear the sirens start coming. Usually what we get out of Iran these days are the cluster bombs. And the reason you get the cluster bombs is they're effective in terms of getting through the Israeli air defenses. And when I say cluster bomb, what I'm talking about is a warhead that's made up of dozens of little bombs. And when that's intercepted by the air defenses, it'll break up into dozens of bomblets, and the bomblets still get through. And we've seen them be very effective in terms of hurting people on the ground or destroying property because those bomblets get through. What we saw yesterday was an exception because those were ballistic missiles with big 1,000-pound warheads. For the most part, those big warheads aren't getting through. They get intercepted. Last night, 2 of them got through in Dimona and Arad. The IDF did their investigation, and they simply determined that there wasn't a new type of weapon that was effective in terms of getting through, and there wasn't a failure of the system. It's just the fact that you're shooting missiles out of sky, which is a very difficult thing to do. So we're keeping an eye on the skies to the east of us right now, because that's where we expect the missiles to appear. That's the direction pardon me, where the missiles come through, and then hopefully we'll see the interceptors launch and get after them. So that's a situation right now, and this is a drill.
Hold on, let me see how long ago was this posted? Okay, this was 2 hours ago. Okay.
That the people here in Israel are repeating every day, multiple times a day. You get the alerts over your phone. That's a period we're in right now. Once you start hearing the sirens wail in the background, that's an indication that the missiles are getting close. And what people have to do here, again and again and again, stop what they're doing, get up and go into what is called the mamad in Hebrew, the bomb shelter. You go into the bomb shelter, and that dramatically increases your chances. And now here.
Let me just say this really quick. Shout out to all the journalists that are out there. Okay, they're literally putting their lives on the line. All right. Because you never know where these missiles are actually aiming at. I mean, this is Russian roulette that they're playing out there. So it takes some serious cojones to get out there and do this. I'm gonna be real. Shoot, you gonna see me in front of a green screen. You know what I'm saying? You gonna catch my ass in front of a green screen. All right. Sure as hell will act the hell out of being scared. You know what I'm saying? You won't see me out there. You got another thing coming. What? You mean I got to hold my composure whilst I'm also praying to the sweet baby Jesus that I don't lose my life because of a missile or multiple missiles coming my direction, yon? You got another thing. How about a pay raise? A tremendous pay. I mean, like extra zeros. How about that in them checks? You know what I'm saying? Come on now. Come on now. It's ballsy for them to do this, guys. I'm just saying.
That's the sound of the sirens going off. That means the missiles are inbound, and we look off in the direction of Iran right now and wait to see where these missiles will appear in the sky. It's very different than the shorter range rockets that we see out of Lebanon and we saw out of the Gaza Strip for so many years, because those run out of fuel halfway and you don't see the inbound rocket. You only see the interceptors go up. What's different about the things that come in from Iran is they're ballistic missiles, so they leave the atmosphere, and when they re-enter, it's almost like a meteor shower with the rocket coming back in, because they get hot upon re-entry to the atmosphere, and then you'll see the interceptors go up after them. So right now, what you hear over Tel Aviv, I'll hold the microphone now. Those are the air raid sirens. The Israeli population now is pretty disciplined about getting into the shelters for this period of time and waiting it out, because the shelters are very effective, particularly with these big warheads when they come in. They spread shrapnel all over the place. And yeah, if we look up in the sky to the east, what I can see now is a cluster bomb.
Oh, hell
you saw the
no.
big light. That was the interception. And now we've got dozens of bomblets coming down over Tel Aviv. We see one bright light that is cascading in this direction. A lot of lights separating off of it. And those are the bomblets. And the bomblets themselves are still quite dangerous because they're little explosives. They're not as powerful as the big 1,000-pound warhead like came in Dimona last night, but they're still very capable of hitting people. And one single light is now cascading. And we heard a big boom there. That's probably the interception. And I'm looking at one single light now cascading. I won't give specifics on the location, but over in the skies over Tel Aviv, headed to the ground, and we'll see what that results in.
Mike, are you in a place
it
where
didn't appear to cause a large explosion? Go right ahead.
Yeah, do you feel like you can answer some questions real quick?
No, hell no.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, so when it comes to the defense, the interception, you've got all these different Jacob's Ladder, the Iron Dome, the Arrow system. I know before this launch, back during the 12-day war last year, we talked about the capabilities, and then as this started, how much U.S. ships are helping in this to defend Israel. Is the sense that Israel's Iron Dome, the Arrow system, is still operable, still functioning with a proper amount of munitions, or are we using some U.S. assets now? Where does that seem to be?
Well, that's the kind of information that they won't necessarily give us, but what you have is a multi-layered defense. You've got the Iron Dome, you've got David slings, you have the THAAD interceptors that can intercept much higher in the atmosphere, and you've even got the Arrow missile systems. So the Iron Dome is supposed to be for a little bit closer range. And one of the things I can tell you in the background is I'm hearing multiple explosions, soft explosions. That's an indication that those bomblets are now cascading to the earth. A lot of them fall into open areas, and they even fall in residential areas when people are inside, and they don't result in many injuries. Really, the effect of these is a terror weapon. They traumatize the people who are living here in Israel. But the answer to your earlier questions, they've got multi-layers of interceptors and defense. And despite that, what we saw yesterday, you're shooting a missile out of the sky. You can't get them all, and two of them got through.
Yeah. The Iron Dome is definitely is kind of faltering a little bit. Is not as ironclad, pun intended, I guess, as they thought it would be. Okay. There is no Tina Turner, no Mel Gibson, no Mad Max with the Iron Dome. I know it's Thunderdome, but I tried. So again, this is all very, very bad. Let's take a look. Oh, no, hold on. Let me pause that one. Grab this here real quick. Let's go over to CNN, see what they're talking about, what they're saying about this 48-hour thizang. Okay.
Donald Trump is threatening an enormous attack on Iran's energy infrastructure if Tehran doesn't allow free navigation through the strategic Strait of Hormuz. CNN's Eleni Giokos joining us live from Dubai. Eleni, Donald Trump then threatening Iran with an enormous punch on Iran's energy infrastructure should Tehran not, quote, open the strait within 48 hours. It's not at all clear whether Iran will heed that warning. All signs are that they won't. The impact of that choke point and the effect of a shutdown in energy sites around the region continues to have a huge impact on the world economy. Asian markets will open first, of course, for Monday trade. What's expected?
We are feeling it around the world already, I think, Becky. You can see inflation inputs basically across the board, whether it's energy, whether it's, things like downstream products on jet fuel, other products across the world. I think that speaking to a lot of corporates, they're really worried about what it's going to do to earnings down the line. And this is why we're starting to see a lot of concern coming through, and even in the markets and the equities. But just focusing on President Trump's line on if the Strait of Hormuz is not opened within 48 hours, that he's going to hit and obliterate power plants, and he's going to start with the biggest power plants in Iran. So clearly giving them an ultimatum. Iran, for its part, coming out with a statement today saying that all vessels can pass through the Strait of Hormuz as long as they're not linked to what they say is the enemy. So we're talking about US and Israeli linked vessels. Now, how they apply that rule remains to be seen. We've heard just another vessel was impacted by an unknown projectile just off the coast here in the UAE in Sharjah. So we're seeing around 22 vessels that have already been impacted since the start of this war. And that, of course, creates a lot of nervousness from shippers. Iran also saying that if any of its power plants are in fact targeted, that they will retaliate. And they're focusing on desalination plants, they say US assets, as well as other critical energy infrastructure. So rhetoric definitely has been escalated. The big question is President Trump going to be happy with the line of, well, anyone can pass through the strait as long as it's not US and Israel linked vessels? And then importantly, that whoever wants to pass through the strait will have to coordinate with Iran for security guarantees. In the meantime, we have heard that 22 countries have shown interest to assist in securing the strait. How and when that will happen, still not answered. In the meantime, interestingly, over the weekend, we also heard President Trump saying that he wants to start winding down the war. So in terms of the inconsistencies we've been hearing, specifically from the United States, Becky, this now 23 days into this war, the Gulf nations have borne the brunt of what we've been seeing in the strikes against the region, specifically on critical energy infrastructure.
Okay, so let me just be real. That is a massive problem. Okay, that's the massive problem. He says we're on our way to, getting, accomplishing our goals that we are trying to accomplish, blah, 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 right? We're about to wind down because we've just, we tapped in all the things that we need to tap in on. And now he is saying, you got 48 hours or we're going to completely obliterate everything you guys know on how, like everything that you believe is necessary to live, to survive in Iran. And he's saying we're going to make the Iranian people's lives a living hell by destroying these power plants and their energy infrastructure. So if it really is done and we're winding down, why are we turning the knob all the way up to 11 and ripping the mother lover knob off? Please explain that to me. That still doesn't make sense to me. Are we done? Are we not done? He says we gonna pull out because we've been pounding, but we still pounding and he still won't pull out. You see what I'm saying? Like, make up your mind, baby. You gonna pull out or you gonna keep pounding? You can't say two things at the same time. You know what I'm saying? That's weird. That's weird.
This threat that was issued by President Trump on Saturday Night Iran, as you saw, a very direct threat to the Iranians, saying if they do not reestablish free navigation or allow for free navigation in the Strait of Hormuz and completely reopen it, then the U.S. will potentially strike some of their energy infrastructure. Do you see this as perhaps the president really feeling that mounting political pressure that you and I have discussed for the last several weeks?
Well, it's also, look, it is the president either by design or impulse, just sort of careening in his messaging on the war. Literally just days ago, he said incorrectly, as it turned out, but he did say that the U.S. Was not informed of the Israeli attack on Iranian energy infrastructure. And then, of course, Iran responded by attacking other energy infrastructure in the region. Iran is not a democracy. The ruling regime can absorb a lot of pain on behalf of its public in a way that is just harder for a democracy to do. So it's kind of hard to imagine that this threat is going to lead to Iran to say, okay, yes, we cave and we are going to open the Strait. More likely, if the U.S. follows through on this, Iran will try to take out more energy infrastructure in the region, and that could almost immediately be reflected in even higher gas prices. The president has always behaved, I think in almost every situation, as though he is the one with escalation dominance, what the military planners call escalation dominance. He decides how intense the conflict flares and when it ends, and that just does not seem to be the case right now.
We're now joined by Miran Kamrava. He's a professor of government at Georgetown University in Qatar. Thank you so much for being with me, sir. I appreciate it. We are now into the fourth week of this war. When you look at where things stand at the moment, do you see either side moving closer to a strategic objective, or are we simply just watching a conflict that's widening without any clear endgame?
I'm afraid we're witnessing a conflict that continues to escalate. Every day we're surprised by yet another red line being traversed. And now we are looking at this threat from President Trump saying that Iranian energy facilities and power plants will be hit. And Iran has in turn threatened to hit energy facilities here in the Persian Gulf region. And if either side carries out that threat, then we're really looking into the abyss, I'm afraid.
Joining me live to discuss all of this and the ongoing situation.
Okay, so again, he's like, yeah, we're screwed. If it keeps going this way, we're going down a rabbit hole that may never have an end to, right? There may be no end to the chaos that's going on in Iran, in the Middle East. And again, as much as all of us have been very concerned about this, I feel like, I think we're now in a place where we are literally walking into potentially a forever war. Because here's the thing. Let's entertain this thought for a second, okay? Let's just entertain the possibility of Trump actually going out there and destroying the infrastructure, okay? Let's just rock with that for a second. That he goes and he destroys the energy infrastructure in Iran. Do you really think that is going to stop the Iranian regime from retaliating, or do you really think that that's going to be the end game to this actual war? Now, I already asked you guys, like, are they going to, do you really think that they're going to bend to his 48-hour ultimatum? Right? And I know a lot of y'all are like, nah, they ain't going to move. They're going to continue doing what they're doing because they're like, hey, you are bluffing, basically. Come get it. If you want to go and take out these power plants, go ahead. Make my day. Wow. Dirty Harry. Right? But will this be the end game? Will that be the checkmate to this whole war? I tell you what, I don't think so. Don't get me wrong. I want this war to be over as quickly as possible. I want this to be done. I don't want us over there. I don't want us to have to deploy more troops, even though there are more troops on their way there right now as we speak. They should be there within the next 3 weeks or so, which is insane. Because like I said, Trump's sitting here saying, we're winding down. We're winning this war. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. We're winning this war. We have won. Yet he's sending more troops out there that are going to be there within 3 weeks or so. Okay? They're sailing this across the seas to get to this war in the Middle East. Yet we're winding down. Then he puts in this ultimatum of 48 hours, or you're going to see some really bad things that are not only going to hurt the regime, your militia, it's going to hurt your civilians. This is not the end. Sorry, guys, this is not the end game. This is not checkmate. In fact, I feel like, and this may sound insane, but I feel like Iran is prepared for something like this. Like they knew that this could be a possibility. They've had 47 years, as they say, to think about this, to prep for this, to get this ready. So what are the chances? What are the chances that we go after their power plants, but they already knew that that this was inevitable, and they're already prepared? Again, as much as I would love it to be like the end game so we could just be done with this, right? Iran could stop wilding out, right? And we all could be, chilling out. I just don't see that happening anytime soon. Hence the reason why for a fact, that's the reason why we have 2,500 more Marines and 3 more warships sailing right now towards the Middle East right now as we speak. For a fact he would have called them off by now if he said, we got the end game already set in motion. It's going to be a wrap. These Marines can go back home and be with their loved ones. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to be scared about sacrificing your life for this war anymore. Okay? Yes, men and women of the military, of these Marines, you can take your asses back home and kiss your loved ones on the forehead and say you're home. That's not happening. They're on ships on their way to the Middle East. Even though we think that in the next less than 24 hours from now, tomorrow night, we may think that this is the end game that Trump is trying to say, like, this is our end game move and it'll be a wrap. It won't be. This is going to escalate things to the likes we've never seen before. In fact, this is where I get worried. And yeah, I might be sounding like a fearmonger. I don't want to sound like one, but I don't think that this is going to be a winning situation for Trump or for America. They've already started to threaten tourist sites. We already talked about that before. There are sleeper cells all over the world. You really think that us going in, bombing their power plants, this is where they're going to stop? This is where they throw up the white flag and say, we surrender. I don't think so, guys. I really don't think so. And that's one thing that scares me, because we do the power grid, we do their infrastructure. What's next? Those long-range missiles that they have. And they just start going and hitting random cities in Europe, U.S. allied cities in other countries, in the Western European area. You don't think that they're already thinking about this stuff by now? They already got the long-range missiles that we didn't know even existed until yesterday, if I'm correct. I worry, and we all should. We all should. I'm skipping ahead of this, though, real quick, because we need to talk about this. The missiles firing, the long-range missiles. Okay, let's just take a listen to a little bit of this.
The growing Iranian missile threat over the weekend, we saw 2 missiles trying to target the Diego Garcia base in the Indian Ocean. This is more than 2,000 miles away from Iranian territory, and an indication that the Iranians were not being transparent when it comes to their medium-range ballistic missiles. And this is significant because, as the prime minister told me, it means that Europe is now under threat as a result of this Iranian missile program. Now, the IDF, you can see in this video here over the weekend, is going after many of the storage facilities for Iran's ballistic missiles. They've also taken out a number of the country's launchers. The former prime minister of Israel, Naftali Bennett, describing what exactly the current Iranian missile threat looks like.
It's important that Europe now wakes up, understands that America and Israel, with the leadership of President Trump, are preventing a nuclear Iranian nightmare on all of Europe. We're fighting this war to protect them. Now the lie has been revealed. Iran has missiles that can reach Madrid, that can reach Berlin, that can reach Paris. And now they suddenly woke up and understand that they're under an Iranian threat.
At the location where we interviewed Bennett and Netanyahu, more than 100 people were wounded last night by a single Iranian ballistic missile when it exploded in a residential area. Peter?
Great reporting as always. Thank you, Trey. Let's bring...
What do you think? Do you agree? Do you think that Europe now needs, like, because you got to remember, I don't think that, okay, this is gonna sound crazy, all right? But I don't think that Israel and America even knew that they had missiles that could reach that far. I'm just going to be real. Like, you know, that they didn't know that they could shoot from land and, you know, that missile could go as far out as he said, like, you know, Paris or Madrid or anything of that sort, right? I don't think that they knew about that until just now, until just recently. They finally just realized, oh, damn, they got a lot up their sleeves. And now, again, like I'm saying, I'm hearing it's the spin now. We're hearing the spin. Now they're going, hey, you guys need to be worried. You should be very concerned about what's going on now because this is actually happening. Now they have these missiles. We've been protecting you guys this entire time. Are we sure that was really what was going on? Or that just happened to happen now, and now they're moving the goalpost a little bit and saying, see, we've been fighting your war for you. You see what I'm saying? Don't you think that's a little bit odd? Let me remind you again. Remember the beginning of this series? Okay, remember in the beginning of the show? A couple weeks ago, the whole thing was about regime change. Oh, and about the nukes. Nukes, regime change. Remember that? Remember that at all? Yeah, I remember it. We completely lost the plot. Didn't we lose the plot? I know I've been saying that like for the last few days over and over and over again, but I'm telling you right now, we've lost the plot. Weren't we supposed to be figuring out who's going to be taking over Iran, who's going to be leading Iran? Have we not even heard anything from Ayatollah Jr.? What happened to Mujtaba Khamenei? Is he still alive? Is he learning how to walk again? Is he healed? What's going on here? Haven't heard anything about that. But they are taking out all these other leaders. So what about that regime change? What about Iran, actually, the Iranian people coming together and fighting and, you know, taking over the leadership, taking over the government, and starting anew. What happened to that? Where's that conversation? Have we heard anything about that lately, y'all? Have you? No, we haven't heard anything about that. Now, we already know about the nukes. Of course, that's one of the big concerns, okay? That's one of the big concerns that they have been talking about. You got them allegedly, it looks like the Marines are going to be swooping in to maybe try to, I don't know, in some sort of covert operation, get as much uranium as they can in their possession. We'll see if they can actually do that. We'll find out. But nonetheless, what happened to the main topic? Regime change. Getting those nukes or the uranium that they could use to make nukes, right? That all went away. That stuff went away. Now it's about the Strait of Hormuz. And now, because they have missiles, not nukes, but missiles that can go long distances, now they're saying Europe should be concerned now. So now they're like, please join our fight. Please come join our fight. Doesn't that seem a bit weird? I think that's weird.
And now the former commanding officer of the USS Cole Kirk, Lippold Kirk, somehow with whatever's left of Iran's military, they have fired for the first time these two IRBMs. We've got a map that we're going to put up. Intermediate range ballistic missiles. Iran missed. They were aiming at the US-UK base in the Indian Ocean, Diego Garcia. But if they aim the other way, the left of this map, those IRBMs bring into their range Rome, Munich, Paris, London, Berlin, Oslo, and Moscow. How big of a problem is this?
It's a very big problem, Peter. When you look at it, what everyone has claimed, we had no imminent threat prior to this going. Number one, it proves the Iranians have been lying about their ballistic missile program the entire time. Number two, now the Europeans, with the largest land war since World War II going on with Ukraine and Russia, is now under threat from Iran as well. It is an active threat. We are in engaged conflict with Iran today, and the Europeans better now realize that when President Trump asks for their help, it's not just for us, it's for them as well.
And to your point there about the allies, if Iran has shown in the last 3 weeks that they will shoot missiles at their pals in the Gulf, what is stopping them from trying to hit Paris?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a very good point. It's a very big concern for sure. We should be concerned about that, but that's now new knowledge, right? That's not why we came out there in the first place. Just remember that. That's not why we came out there in the first place. But now that we know about that stuff, yes, that's an absolute concern. Absolutely. Absolutely. By the way, guys, please don't forget to hit the like button down below. If we can get it to 1K, that'd be greatly appreciated, okay? Send it all the way up. That'd be greatly appreciated. Get this Sunday show off and popping. That would be greatly appreciated. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Subscribe, okay? But let's continue. Good question, though.
Nothing. And that's where the danger lies. Iran, as we continue to degrade their capability, as we continue to execute this military plan where we are gracefully degrading their capability to project power out from Iran, out into the Strait of Hormuz, we now need to be sure that we can also go after these intermediate range ballistic missiles because they do represent a threat. And ultimately, Europe is going to have to get on board and join us to make sure that we can take Iran out, have a change of government, and allow the people to begin to build their future.
Are you surprised that after 3+ weeks of epic fury, big bombs going off all over Iran, their army, air force, and navies all decimated, that they can still blast off these intermediate range ballistic missiles that could go thousands of miles, hit some European capital?
Peter, Iran's a big country. And they had a very dispersed military, just like we do around our country. And the fact is, they still have remnants that have capability. They're going to exercise that capability. And as the regime begins to degrade even further, when they sense they are actually going to lose power, what they're going to do is lash out in unpredictable ways. If you have an intermediate range ballistic missile, what's to say that they can't plant something on that would be a true war changer on the continent of Europe? Because they're going to view Europe as aiding the United States, and they're going to begin to lash out in ways that are desperate to try and preserve their power.
We know commanders in chief don't like to be surprised. President Trump told us about his big surprise this week with epic fury. You were talking about Iran a couple times today and what they did after Epic Fury began. You said they hit Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. Nobody expected that. We were shocked. Are you surprised that nobody briefed you ahead of time that that might be their retaliation?
Nobody, no. The greatest experts, nobody thought they were going to hit.
Are you surprised to hear that?
I'm actually not. I think that at the end of the day, you can brief all you want, but the reality is once conflict started, it becomes predictable. What you try to do as a military is you want to be able to predict as well as possible what the reaction of the enemy is going to be when you engage them, but they are always going to try something or do something different than you anticipate. Part of the reason you go through the practice and the drills you do in the military is so that you can react in ways that are unexpected, so that you can at first, you try to deter them, and then you want to degrade their capability to do it, and then you want to eliminate it. And that's exactly what Secretary of War Hegseth and the president have done with Iran.
Okay. I will say it's called war. It's called war. They should always expect some sort of retaliation. There should always be an expectation of the element of surprise. Like I said, I truly think there's a lot that the administration, Trump administration, did not have ready. They did not expect this to be as big of a project, as big of an operation than it actually has turned out to be. Like I said, and I keep saying this, but I'm going to say it again. It's like that bathroom renovation project that you're doing in your house. And you think it's only going to be one weekend to get it done, only to find out it takes more. It takes a whole month to get the doggone thing done. You think it's going to be like you're going to get in there, flip it around. You know, you got the contractor. He's good at what he does. Bop, 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 bop. But as soon as you rip up the floorboards, take out the toilet, take out the bathtub and all that, then you all of a sudden, oh, damn, there's so much crap in here. There's so much rot. We got to rebuild all this stuff here. Damn, it's all that. It's basically what happened here. We flew in there thinking it's going to be an in and out situation, right? It's going to be an in and out situation. And it's like, oh, snap. Nope, it is not what we expected it to be. It's called war for a reason, y'all. They know that. We hear it from Pete Hegseth all the time. This is what you expect when you go into the fray of war. You know what I mean? How he talks, right? Like he's writing a book all the damn time. It's hilarious if you ask me. But again, very, very interesting stuff. Now, we have got to get into this other piece, okay? Because I can't stay on very long, but there's a lot going on. We got to talk about what's going on this side of the planet, on our side of the pond. Yeah. What's going on with all these TSA agents dropping out like flies, leaving their jobs? Some of them are actually quitting on the job in the middle of their shifts and saying, I'm out. I can't do this anymore, right? There's a lot of people, a lot of TSA agents that are literally hoping to get a payday here very soon. Some of them are leaving their job because they can't afford to not work where they're not getting paid. So now you got people doing Ubers, you got people doing DoorDashes, you got people doing anything they can to survive. And in fact, I'm going to say something wild. Remember back 4 or 5 months ago, 3, 4, 5 months ago, when there was a government shutdown, before a full government shutdown, and TSA agents, a lot of them left to go find any job that they could, any quick job that they could, so they can put food on the table for their kids. Remember the ones that stuck around? They got bonus checks for sticking around. I think even the ones that had to stop the job and go work somewhere else, I think they should have gotten bonus checks as well for however long that they stayed out there, stayed on the job, waiting and hoping for a paycheck for their hard work, right? I truly think that. I do. The ones that stuck out throughout the entire time until the day that everything got turned back on, cool. $10,000 check, bet. But what about all the other ones that were there that stuck out for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, God knows however long that shutdown was for, right? What about those people? They still need to pay their bills. Some of those people dove into their savings. Some people don't even have savings. A lot of people are one paycheck away from being bankrupt. So again, these particular TSA agents, the fact that they're not getting paid, they should absolutely be taken care of, no matter what. There also should be a safety protocol for them if there is another government shutdown. And I feel like there's going to be more in the future, guys. At least in this administration, I think there's going to be a lot more shutdowns coming up very, very soon. And these TSA agents are just getting screwed over back to back to back. This is not right. There needs to be some sort of financial safety protocol so that they can continue working, they can get paid, and they can continue to keep their lights on and put food on the table for their kids and their loved ones. That's why they're there. That's why they left, so that they can make a living. They can't make a living standing around doing the job and not getting paid and hoping that they get paid at some point where their cell phones get shut off, their internet, their electricity, their water, their gas, their mortgage gets, falls behind, so on and so forth. You don't want that. That's wrong and that's messed up. But now we got something else going on. Trump said a couple days ago, hey, if these radical left Democrats don't come up with some sort of agreement with Republicans to turn this part of this government back on, we will be bringing ICE agents to airports, and it will be terrible. He didn't say it would be terrible, but he was like, he said something of like, it'll be something of the likes you've never seen before or something like that. Yeah, it's going to be something like we've never seen before, for sure. We're going to talk about that in a second. But now, White House border czar Tom Homan has now said, yes, ICE agents are coming in as soon as tomorrow. Oh, we're screwed. Oh, we're screwed. We got so much conflict and chaos going on overseas in Middle East. We're going to have the same chaos and problems over here at these airports now. Yeah, get ready for it, guys. It's about to get much worse. It's about to get much, much worse. Remember the protests that we were seeing in Minneapolis? Now imagine those protests outside airports. This is not good. Seriously, this is not good. I'll explain why in a little bit. Let's continue. As soon as tomorrow, y'all, ICE will be at major airports, major international airports. This is a recipe for disaster. Let's look at this. White House border czar, Tom Homan said Sunday that ICE agents will deploy to airports across the country on Monday to assist TSA officers with security at airport entrances and exits where lines have been particularly long in recent weeks. So he also told the CNN's State of the Union, which we do have the video. I'm going to show you some of that interview. He said he's currently working on a plan for deployment with the leaders of ICE and of TSA. He said he believed it would begin at large airports that have the longest wait times, because some of them are at the likes of 3 to 4 hours just standing in line waiting to get through checkpoint just so you can get into a tiny ass seat that's on a cylinder sardine can that's being flung through the air. Yeah. You're going from one uncomfortable situation to a whole other uncomfortable situation for several hours. Imagine that. They're supposed to make traveling, very, very comfortable and, an act of leisure, right? And it's not that at all anymore. It's not comfortable at all. And now you got even more tension coming because ICE is coming, mother lovers. Okay. So he said he believed it would be at these large airports, like I said, that have the largest wait times first. So New York City, LAX, like LaGuardia, JFK, LAX, Chicago International Airport, Chicago O'Hare Airport as well. So I'm thinking all the big, massive airports, Miami's airport, so on and so forth. The spots, DFW, exactly. All the Atlanta, all of them. Okay. Atlanta, Dallas, Tennessee, Augusta. Okay, moving on, right? So big airports. Going to be a lot of ICE showing up. Now, here's the thing that he said. Larger places, larger airports that have largest wait times, and agents would cover security points, but wouldn't provide help with baggage screenings. So they're not doing any screenings, but they're there to help with security points. What? You realize the whole point of TSA is to go through your bags and go through, like you and, you know what I'm saying? So what is this for, really? Is it really to help TSA? Or is it just to try to scoop up a couple illegals? Because the whole point is the baggage screenings and screenings on you too, right? And they got machines for that too, where you stand like this, right? You take your shoes off, you put it through the thing, all metal, etc., wallets, cell phones, blah, 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 put through the scanner, your baggage, etc., right? Then you walk through this thing that woo, woo, like that, and your hands are up like this, right? While they're scanning your baggage. So what are they there for? What are they there for? Think about that for a second. Sure. Stay in a single line, everybody. Okay. To check their IDs and their plane ticket before they get through the next part, which is to put their baggage through the scanner and the baggage screenings and all that stuff. So what? They're just basically going through to make sure that every person that's there is actually an American. Think about it, guys. Think about it. They're there to make things smoother. I beg to differ. He continues. He says, certainly a highly trained ICE law enforcement officer can cover an exit. Great. So could a rent-a-cop. But moving on. Or a security guard can do that too. But okay. Make sure people don't go through those exits, enter an airport through the exits and stuff like that. Relieves that TSA officer to go to screening and reduce those lines. See, like I said, how so? How so, though? Cover an exit. Like I said, there's plenty of dudes out here that can do that without ICE's help. So what's really going on here, guys? What's really going on here? Are they just trying to find another situation to cause more ruckus? Because that's what it feels like to me. That's what I smell. What The Rock is cooking, and what he cooking right now doesn't smell no good whatsoever.
Czar Tom Homan, who was on Capitol Hill trying to break this impasse. Mr. Homan, thank you so much for being here. You did meet with a group of centrist Senate Democrats on Friday to try to strike a deal to reopen DHS. Republican senators say the administration has added to the latest offer. What exactly is the White House offering Democrats right now on potential new policy changes for ICE and CPB to end this impasse?
I don't think it's really significant policy changes. I mean, I'm invited there just to explain operations and how we conduct business within ICE and CBP. But I truly believe this isn't really a policy issue. I mean, we have the same policies in place we had during Obama and Biden and Clinton and Bush 1 and Bush 2. So the policies really hasn't changed. It's the execution of those policies that we're talking about. And look, we're having good conversations, but more conversations need to be had because we certainly can't surrender ICE's authorities and their congressionally mandated job. So we're having those discussions. It's really about policy execution more than policy.
Well, but as you know, they want it to be codified, things like agents wearing masks, the ability or the requirement to say who they are, and things of that nature. So you're saying that the White House is not open to changing any of that?
No, I'm saying a majority of it's about policy execution. If we're talking about, as you see on the letter that was out the other night, we're talking about identification, badge number, name, either or, because no Border Patrol has a name on their uniform. ICE doesn't have a name on uniforms. We're talking about clear identification. We're talking about, access to detention and things like that. So, a lot of these things, as I explained to the senators, a lot of these things are already in play. And, identification has been ever since Minneapolis. And I'm trying to explain that the situation on the ground isn't the same as it was in Minneapolis. We're doing target enforcement operations, and the detention standards are the same they were in the last administration, but there was a problem with access to detention standards that problem doesn't exist anymore. So a lot of the changes after Minneapolis has already been implemented, and that's what I'm there to explain to them.
I want to ask about one other thing. During his confirmation hearing, Senator Mark Wayne Mullen indicated that as Secretary of DHS, he would require ICE to use judicial warrants over administrative warrants, which is another thing the Democrats want. This is, of course, to enter homes or businesses. I know you've pushed back on that idea in recent months. Would you support a Secretary Mullen on that?
Well, I'm not going to get ahead of the secretary. I mean, I know what he said during the hearing, and I don't think ICE is going into homes without some sort of judicial warrant. There are certain aspects of the law that I'm trying to explain to members of senators, what allows us access and not access. You don't need to enter a house. You don't need a judicial warrant to enter a house if it's in hot pursuit, or if it's destruction of evidence, or there's a significant safety threat. So there's a lot of caveats to that, and that's what we're talking about in these meetings. What exactly the law says, and what are our options within that law. So I won't get ahead of the secretary. Hopefully he'll get his vote this week.
Okay. You would be open to changing, to making it more clear that in run-of-the-mill situations, not in hot pursuit, that a judicial warrant is needed?
Again, I'm not going to get ahead of these discussions. That's a part of the negotiation, and I'll just leave it at that. It's give and take, and we'll continue to have those conversations, but we'll see where it goes. We're having this conversation. I'm explaining how we do things, and we'll see where it lands.
President Trump posted on Truth Social, quote, "If the radical left Democrats don't immediately sign an agreement to let our country, in particular our airports, be free and safe again, I will move our brilliant and patriotic ICE agents to the airports, where they will do security like no one has ever seen before." Now, in a subsequent post, he said that he instructed ICE agents to be ready by Monday. And now the president is saying that you, sir, are going to be in charge. How is that going to work? Are ICE agents going to move into American airports starting tomorrow, Monday?
Yes. And I'm currently working on the
Man, oh my Lord. Hold on. There's a Trump presser right now? Trump is having a presser right now? What's going on? Man, oh man. Okay. Let me see if is that really what's going on right now? Because that's news to me. And you're seeing that all the way from Australia, Renee. Thank you so much for the heads up. Let me see what's popping, but let's finish. But he's saying, yes, it's happening. They are sending ICE to airports very soon.
Plan now of execution, working with the director of ICE and administrator at TSA, the acting administrator. So we'll put together a plan today, and we'll execute tomorrow.
Okay, so there are a lot of questions here. First of all, are ICE agents even remotely trained to handle security at airports?
ICE agents receive a high level of training. And, the ICE agents are assigned at many airports across the country already. They do a lot of criminal investigation on smuggling at airports. But, you know, there's got TSA agents covering exits, people that enter through the exits. You know, certainly a highly trained ICE law enforcement officer can cover an exit, makes people don't go through those exits, entering the airport through the exits. And that would stuff like that relieves that TSA officer to go to screening and to reduce those lines. So wherever we can provide extra security, I don't see an ICE agent looking at an X-ray machine because they're not trained in that. There are certain parts of security that TSA is doing that we can move them off those jobs and put them in the specialized jobs, help move those lines.
And more of an opportunity to detain any potential illegals that happen to be trying to either travel or trying to actually help a loved one and keep them company while they stand in line for several hours before they cross into the security checkpoint. Again, like I said, now that people are going to know, you got the anti-ICE protesters showing up. So you know for a fact it's going to be protesters outside all of these places. It's going to be absolute pandemonium first thing in the morning. Okay, when the first ICE agent shows up at a specific airport, there will be anti-ICE protests showing up at those places. And here's the problem with that. This is the thing that concerns me, because while we are staring at the protests and staring at the tension between ICE agents and protesters and the potential of them actually arresting people right there in line for these security checkpoints, a bad guy could actually slip through the cracks that way. It's a potential for disasters, potential for absolute pandemonium. You see what I'm saying? That's the thing I could get concerned about. Okay? Yeah, who's got gas to go to the airport, to drive to the airport? That's a damn good question too. But on some real stuff, that should be a very big concern. Real talk. People will find time. If they got to Uber, they'll Uber they asses over there to protest, depending on where they actually show up. But imagine protests actually happening at airports. Outside, not inside. They can protest outside of the actual airport. But all that chaos, all that attention, and then all the issues, the potential issues of people getting arrested right there, detained right there, could be a huge distraction for these trained TSA agents to go and comb through every single package, book bag, luggage, okay, that they're actually going through. So again, this is a huge thing that should be a huge concern. This is only going to cause more chaos out here in these streets. Now, I do have something that I want to share with y'all, because this is breaking news, actually. This is a big deal. So let me put up the banner, the breaking news banner. Something just popped off that we need to talk about. There is a worldwide caution security alert that has just been issued. So the U.S. just issued, okay, a worldwide security alert, all right? And we got to take a look at this. This is absolutely insane. So this the U.S. issues a worldwide security alert urging caution as this whole situation with Iran. They're worried about Iran-linked groups that may target American interests, right? So the U.S. Department of State issued a worldwide security alert Sunday, urging Americans across the globe to be wary of threats from Iran-linked groups. So let's take a look at this. This is absolutely crazy. And this just got issued just a little bit ago. All right. So breaking mother-loving news. All right. So the Department of State advises Americans worldwide to exercise increased caution. Location worldwide. Event. Let's blow this up a tiny bit more so you guys can see a little bit better. I know some of y'all are still watching on your iPhone 4s. Doesn't matter. It's all good. I'm impressed that you still have the iPhone 4 working. Okay. I'm impressed. That's not a dig. That's not a diss. Okay. That I'm impressed. Okay. Moving on. Worldwide is the location. Event. The Department of State advises Americans worldwide and especially in the Middle East to exercise increased caution. From my understanding, there's been a lot of Americans that have left. Okay? That's from what I've understood. Like a lot of Americans have already left the country, like have left the Middle East. A lot of them have kicked rocks already. But for those of y'all who are still lingering over there, please be careful. Americans abroad should follow the guidance in security alerts issued by the nearest U.S. embassy or consulate. Periodic airspace closures may cause travel disruptions. U.S. diplomatic facilities, including outside the Middle East, have been targeted. Groups supportive of Iran may target other U.S. interests overseas or locations associated with the United States or Americans throughout the world. Okay? So they just issued this. A worldwide caution security alert for all Americans worldwide. And no, I am not talking pit bull. So again, very, very big deal. Very, very big problem. And that should be a very big concern for all of us, okay? Especially right now when the weather's getting good, we're going out, we're traveling, we're trying to go to different places. Again, this is not the time to be lackadaisical or complacent with keeping your head on that damn swivel. You understand? So again, big concerns I have, okay? And I remember, this also comes after one of the Iranian military spokespersons did say that they're threatening to target popular tourist locations, tourist spots. That they said that it can happen, anything can pop off anywhere. So again, make sure that you keep your heads on a swivel, okay? Yes, I said lackadaisical, carbonized. Okay, I got vocabulary. Okay, I be articulate and ish. Sometimes you feels me. Okay, I like words. I don't know the term for a person who loves words. What's that term? A person who loves words it's like a term. I don't know the term. See, I like words, but I don't even know that word. Ain't that crazy? Moving on. Jeffrey, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Trump had no problem killing 160 kids. He is not human. He is a demon. Well, this is some demonic stuff. This is some really bad stuff. I'll tell you what. Taking out the whole elementary school full of little girls, 170 some odd people, majority girls. That's some pretty devilish stuff, if you ask me. Okay. Inquisitive, thank you so much. Not me. I don't know what not me is. That was a while ago, but I appreciate it. Not me too. I don't know. I don't know what not me is, but I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the love. Okay. A linguist, a wordsmith. Well, see, now I feel dumb because I could have just said a wordsmith. I know wordsmith. I thought it was like a word, like a very interesting, unique word. Okay. But I guess I was wrong. Okay. It's that simple. Yeah. I guess I'm not that big of a lover of words, I guess, if it's that simple. But moving on, Anne-Marie, thank you so much for the love and becoming a member. I appreciate it. And just like Anne-Marie, please consider becoming a member by hitting that join button down below. Thank you so much. A spoken word artist. That's not at all what I was talking, but that works. You know what I mean? Jose, hey, cabrón. ¿Qué pasa, cabrón? Spoken word artist. That works for me too. You know, I thought it was like an actual, like, you know, a lover of words. It's, you know what I mean? A lover of vocabulary. It's like a word. Logophile? Logophile is the word. There it is. There it is. There it is. That's what I meant. I knew it was something like that. You know what I'm saying? Wordsmith. No, there's nothing wrong with the way I said it, like wordsmith. The hell's wrong with you? No. I didn't mean like that. Okay. No, I didn't mean like that. Okay. Scrabble. Yeah. I'm a lover of words. What's that term called? Yeah, it's called Scrabble. No. I'll take wordsmith for 500, Mr. Trebek. Okay. Or linguist. Somebody else said linguist, but it's a logo file. Yes. There it is. There it is. A logo file. Don't get me wrong. It's not like every day I'm waking up and going, what's the new word for the day? Aardvark. Yes. Like I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Okay. I don't do that. I don't do that. Okay. I don't do that. Well, whilst I'm sipping my various Indonesian teas. Okay. I don't do that. Okay. Etymologist? Is that even a see? I'm like, is that even a word? Is that even a word, man? Hold on, let me see. See, now I'm going, ooh. An etymologist is a linguist or scholar who studies the origin, history, and evolution of words. Yeah, that's not me. That's not me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll be like, oh, word, that's why we flipped the bird. Wow, I didn't know we flipped the middle finger because of X, Y, and Z. That's crazy. Like, etymology is not me. I just like words. You know what I mean? I love gold. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not that complicated. Okay, like I'm more of a logo file. Yeah. Hold on. Let's make sure we know. Let's find out what logo file means. Hold on. Yep, a lover of words. Yes. But like I said, I don't wake up every day losing my mind going, what's the new word? You know what I mean? So, you know. But I do love words. I use it every day. Wow, I'm using it right. Holy crap, I'm using it right now. Words. You know, we all use it. Y'all are doing it right now. Ain't that wild in the chat? It's knuckin' futs, man. It's incredible. Words every day, all day. That's all we're looking at all day long, man. All day long, man. Okay. But so again, guys, this is some very, very interesting stuff. What say you with this whole situation that's going on here in America at these airports? I don't see it being I don't see this going in our favor in a peaceful way, but it's going to, it depends on if they go tomorrow, like the first person that's been arrested or detained, first illegal has been detained just now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just waiting for that. I'm waiting for that. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, I do. Quizmatics. Yeah, I'm waking up with a dictionary literally on my chest. And I'm like, oh, you know. What's the new word of the day? Because I can't breathe without reading a new word that I've never seen or heard of before, you know? That's not true at all. But I do like words. Yes, I am a fan of words. Okay. But again, let's see what happens. Tomorrow might be a absolute cluster F, or it may be nothing. Maybe maybe the lines start picking up, things start moving, and everything's fine. Or you never know. One of these ICE agents or one of those people that's in line might get froggy and feels like they want to start some problems. You know, they want to drax them scounts. I don't know. Hopefully that's not the truth. Hopefully that's not what happens, but we'll see what happens here very, very soon. Anyway, that is the show. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, hold on. If you don't know the drax them scounts, just look up Key and Peele. I think it's Terry's. I think it's Key and Peele Terry's. Just watch it. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And it's hilarious. Just go check it out. Okay? Just check it out. And you'll totally understand what I mean by drax them scounts. Just so you know. Okay? Anyway, that's the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It means a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do me a favor before we head out. Okay? Please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it, do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms, like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick. I'm on all of them. So make sure you hit that follow button. Subscribe here on my mother-loving YouTube channel. Come on, man. You know you want to. Hit that notification bell, set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because honestly, it's random or it's breaking news or whenever I get time to get on this mother lover. So make sure you hit that notification bell and set it to all. Hit that join button down below, become a member. Check out my Patreon support if you want to go and support even further. Check out that Patreon. It's in the ticker down below right there. And also check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, so go check it out. PascalMerch.com. Anyway, it's time to get going. Much love to you guys. Have a great rest of your night. Stay safe out there. Keep your mother-loving heads on a mother-loving swizzle. Okay? And we'll be talking here soon. It's time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.